Late one evening, Elon Musk was driving through a quiet, rundown neighborhood. His mind, usually occupied with ambitious projects, paused as he noticed a boy sitting under a flickering streetlight. The child, no older than 10, hunched over a tattered notebook, scribbling furiously while his worn sneakers dangled above cracked pavement. Intrigued, Elon slowed his car, curiosity getting the better of him. Little did he know, this seemingly ordinary moment would lead to an extraordinary encounter that would not only change the lives of the boy and his family but also remind Elon of the impact one person can make. Elon stepped out of his car, the chilly air brushing against his suit. The boy, startled, looked up, clutching his notebook as if it were his most prized possession. "Hey there," Elon said with a warm smile. "What's got you working so hard this late?" The boy hesitated before replying, "Math homework. I'm practicing for a competition." His voice carried pride but also a hint of exhaustion. Elon crouched down to meet his gaze, noting the boy's determination despite the dim light and cold air. "What's your name?" he asked. "Jaylen," the boy answered, his eyes bright with curiosity. As they chatted, a woman appeared from a nearby building, her expression guarded. She approached quickly, calling out to the boy. "Jaylen, who is this?" she asked, glancing nervously at Elon. "Mom, he just wanted to talk," Jaylen replied, standing protectively by her side. Elon extended his hand. "I'm Elon," he introduced himself, but her reaction showed no recognition. She was more concerned with why a stranger was talking to her son. "I don't mean to intrude," Elon assured her. "I was just impressed by his dedication out here." Keisha, the boy's mother, softened slightly but remained cautious. "We don't have much choice. The power's out, and he's got a big test coming up," she explained, her voice tinged with both pride and weariness. Elon noticed her thin jacket and the dark circles under her eyes. "Is there anything I can do to help?" he asked sincerely. Keisha shook her head, her pride pushing her to refuse help from someone she barely knew. "We're fine," she replied curtly, but Jaylen's hopeful glance betrayed the truth. Despite her initial resistance, Keisha felt a strange trust in Elon's genuine interest. She reluctantly shared their situation, eviction looming, her husband Darnell's job search yielding nothing, and her own dreams of starting a small catering business sidelined by mounting bills. Elon listened intently, his mind racing with ideas. "I'm sorry you're going through this," he said finally. "If you're open to it, I'd like to help." Keisha blinked, unsure how to respond. She was used to being overlooked, not offered solutions by strangers. Jaylen broke the silence, tugging at his mother's sleeve. "Mom, maybe we should listen," he whispered. Keisha sighed, nodding reluctantly. "All right," she said. "But we don't want charity. We need opportunities." Elon smiled, respecting her determination. "Opportunities are exactly what I can offer," he assured her. "Let's start by getting you some relief tonight." Elon quickly arranged for the family to stay in a nearby hotel, covering the costs himself. As Keisha and Jaylen settled into the warm, clean room, Keisha couldn't help but feel a mix of gratitude and disbelief. "Why would someone like him care about us?" she murmured, more to herself than anyone else. Jaylen, already exploring the room with childlike excitement, paused to answer, "Maybe he knows how to help people who try hard, Mom." His words struck a chord, reminding her of the values she had always tried to instill in him despite their struggles. The next morning, Elon returned, greeted by Jaylen's enthusiastic wave. Over breakfast, he asked Keisha about her aspirations and the family's challenges in more detail. Keisha, still guarded but slowly opening up, described her passion for cooking and her vision of owning a catering business that could support her family and inspire others in her community. Darnell, who joined them later, shared his background in mechanics and his frustration at the lack of opportunities despite his skills. Elon listened carefully, taking mental notes. "You both have the drive and talent," he said finally. "What you need is the right support system." Keisha and Darnell exchanged uncertain glances, still wary of promises that sounded too good to be true. Elon sensed their hesitation and added, "This isn't charity. Think of it as an investment in potential I believe you already have." By the end of their conversation, the family felt a glimmer of hope they hadn't experienced in years. As Elon prepared to leave, He handed Keisha a card with his assistant's contact information. "We'll be in touch soon with some opportunities that I think can help," he said. Jaylen ran up to him, holding his notebook. "Can you sign this?" he asked shyly. Elon chuckled and obliged, writing a small note of encouragement alongside his signature. As the family watched Elon drive away, Keisha felt a weight lift from her shoulders, replaced by cautious optimism. "Maybe this is our chance, Darnell," she said softly. "Maybe," he replied, wrapping an arm around her as they stood together, watching Jaylen dive back into his homework with renewed enthusiasm. Late one evening, the Jackson family huddled in their small, dimly lit apartment. Bills and eviction notices sat in a messy pile on the coffee table, each one a reminder of their struggles. Keisha, the mother, sat silently on the worn-out couch, staring at her phone. The email she had received just hours earlier felt almost surreal. "Are you sure this isn't some kind of scam?" Darnell, her husband, asked skeptically, his arms crossed. He had seen too many false promises during their tough times to believe easily. "I don't think it is," Keisha replied, her voice trembling with a mix of hope and doubt. "It has the official foundation logo and everything. Why would Elon Musk, of all people, send us a fake email?" Their 12-year-old son, Jaylen, looked up from his sketchbook, where he had been drawing futuristic cars. "Mom, maybe he's trying to help because you helped him first. Remember when you stood up for him at the cafe?" Keisha smiled faintly, recalling the moment. A few weeks ago, she had been working a late shift at a diner when she had stood up for a man being rudely treated by another customer. She hadn't realized at the time that the man was Elon Musk. The email invited the family to a meeting at Elon Musk's foundation office the next morning. It was brief and to the point, but the words, support, and opportunity stood out like a beacon in the darkness they had been living in. "What if this is our chance?" Keisha said, glancing at Darnell. "What if this is the breakthrough we've been praying for?" Darnell sighed, running a hand over his face. "It's just hard to believe, Keisha. People like him don't just reach out to people like us." But he paused, looking at the excitement and hope in Jaylen's eyes. "If there's even the slightest chance this is real, we have to go." Keisha nodded, determination settling in. "Then we're going." The next morning, a sleek black car arrived outside their apartment building. The driver, a polite young man in a suit, introduced himself as an assistant from the foundation. Keisha, Darnell, and Jaylen climbed into the car, each of them dressed in their best outfits, even if they were old and worn. The ride was silent, apart from Jaylen's occasional questions about Tesla and SpaceX. As they neared their destination, the towering glass building of the foundation came into view. Its modern design gleamed under the morning sun, an intimidating yet hopeful sight. Inside, the receptionist greeted them warmly and escorted them to a private conference room. The room was spacious but welcoming, with soft lighting and a few framed photographs of Elon Musk's various projects and initiatives. Minutes later, the door opened and Elon Musk himself walked in. Dressed in a simple black blazer and jeans, he exuded both confidence and approachability. "Keisha, Darnell, thank you for coming," he said with a warm smile, shaking each of their hands. Jaylen stared up at him in awe. "You're the guy who makes rockets and cars, right?" Elon chuckled. "That's me. But today, I'm here to talk about you and your family." They all took their seats, and Elon began asking about their lives, their struggles, and their dreams. At first, Keisha and Darnell hesitated, unsure of how much to reveal. But Elon's genuine curiosity and attentive listening soon put them at ease. Keisha spoke about how she had lost her job at the diner after the incident with Elon. "I've been trying to find work ever since," she said, her voice wavering. "But nothing's worked out." Darnell added, "I've been doing odd jobs, fixing things, helping out wherever I can. But it's not enough to make ends meet." Elon nodded thoughtfully. "And what about your long-term goals? If circumstances weren't holding you back, what would you want to do?" Keisha hesitated before answering. "I've always dreamed of starting my own catering business. Cooking has always been my passion, but I've never had the resources to make it happen." Darnell chimed in, "I'm good with my hands. I used to work in a technical repair shop before it shut down. I'd love to do something like that again, but I just need someone to give me a chance." Elon turned to Jaylen, who had been quiet, nervously fidgeting with his sketchbook. "And what about you, young man? What do you dream of becoming?" Jaylen hesitated, then opened his sketchbook and showed Elon his designs. "I want to design cars. Cool ones like Teslas," he said shyly. Elon flipped through the pages, impressed by the intricate sketches and notes. "These are incredible," he said. "Have you ever thought about becoming an engineer?" Jaylen's eyes lit up. "That's my dream." Elon leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. "You're a remarkable family," he said. "Each of you has so much potential. You just need the right opportunities to unlock it." Keisha and Darnell exchanged a glance, hope sparking between them. "I'd like to help," Elon continued. "Keisha, we can connect you with a mentorship program for small business owners and provide some seed funding to get your catering business off the ground." Keisha's eyes filled with tears. "You'd do that for me?" Elon nodded. "Absolutely. Your passion and drive are exactly what this program is designed to support." Turning to Darnell, he added, "And for you, I'd like to enroll you in a training program at Tesla. It's a stepping stone to a steady job in one of our service centers." Darnell was speechless for a moment before saying, "Thank you. I don't even know what to say." Finally, Elon looked at Jaylen. "As for you, young man, how would you like to attend a STEM-focused academy? We'll cover the tuition and make sure you have everything you need to chase your dreams." Jaylen could hardly contain his excitement. "Really? That's amazing." Elon smiled. "It's the least I can do. But I have one request. When you're back on your feet, I want you to pay it forward. Help someone else the way I'm helping you." Keisha nodded, tears streaming down her face. "We promise. We'll do everything we can to make a difference for someone else." As they left the meeting, the Jackson family felt an overwhelming sense of hope and gratitude. For the first time in years, they could see a brighter future ahead, a future full of possibilities. Keisha sat at the small kitchen table of their modest apartment, surrounded by a mix of excitement and apprehension. In her hands was the first check she had received from the entrepreneurship fund Elon Musk had connected her to, a tangible symbol of a fresh start. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough to turn her long-held dream of starting a catering business into reality. The first step was securing a space. She found a small but functional kitchen to rent, located in a bustling part of town. Though the equipment was outdated, Keisha saw potential. With Darnell's knack for fixing things, the space was soon transformed. The walls were painted a cheerful yellow, and she hung a simple sign outside, "Keisha's Kitchen." Meanwhile, Darnell was diving into his own opportunity. Elon had arranged for him to enroll in a Tesla training program, a rigorous course designed to prepare technicians for work at Tesla's service centers. At first, Darnell doubted his ability to keep up. Most of his classmates were younger and more experienced. But Darnell's natural talent and work ethic quickly set him apart. He spent long nights studying, sometimes falling asleep with a wrench in his hand. The instructors noticed his dedication, often staying after hours to guide him. By the end of the program, Darnell had not only passed but had excelled, earning a permanent position at a local Tesla service center. "It's more than just a job," Darnell told Keisha one evening. "It's stability. It's security for us and for Jaylen." Jaylen, on the other hand, was navigating a completely new world. Through Elon's educational initiative, he had been awarded a full scholarship to one of the city's top STEM academies. His first day at the school felt like stepping into a different universe. The halls buzzed with energy, and the classrooms were filled with state-of-the-art technology, robotics labs, 3D printers, and engineering workshops. At first, Jaylen felt out of place. Most of his classmates came from privileged backgrounds, and he struggled to fit in. But when one of his teachers encouraged him to present his car designs during a class project, everything changed. His intricate sketches and innovative ideas left both his peers and teachers in awe. "You've got a real talent," his teacher said after class. "Have you ever considered submitting your designs to competitions?" Jaylen's confidence grew, and he began to dream bigger. He started spending hours in the school's design lab, working on a prototype for an electric car model. Every evening, he would excitedly share his progress with his parents, his enthusiasm becoming contagious. As the weeks turned into months, The family began to rebuild their lives, piece by piece. Keisha's catering business quickly gained traction. Her first big order was for a corporate event, and the rave reviews brought in more clients. Soon, Keisha's kitchen became known for its delicious, home-cooked meals and exceptional service. One evening, as Keisha prepared a batch of her signature dishes for an upcoming event, she paused to reflect. "I never thought I'd be here," she said to Darnell. "Running my own business, making my own way. It feels like a dream." Darnell smiled, wrapping an arm around her. "You've always had it in you. You just needed the right chance to show it." The family's apartment, once a place of struggle, began to feel like a home again. Jaylen's room was filled with sketches, tools, and books about engineering. Darnell's Tesla uniform hung proudly in the closet, a reminder of his hard-earned success. And Keisha's kitchen was always bustling, filled with the smells of her cooking and the sounds of her laughter. One afternoon, Elon Musk paid them a surprise visit. He wanted to see how they were doing and hear about their progress. Sitting around the dining table, the Jacksons shared their journey with him, their gratitude evident in every word. "You've done the hard work," Elon said. "I just gave you a nudge." Keisha shook her head. "That nudge changed everything. You didn't just help us, you believed in us when no one else did." Elon looked at Jaylen, who was eager to show off his latest car design. "And you, young man, how's the future engineer doing?" Jaylen grinned, pulling out his sketchbook. "I'm working on a model that's even cooler than a Tesla." Elon laughed, flipping through the sketches. "I can't wait to see it on the road someday." By the end of the evening, the Jacksons felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. Their journey was far from over, but with Elon's support and their own perseverance, they were on a path to a brighter future. As Elon left, Keisha stood at the doorway, watching his car drive away. "One day," she said softly, "we'll pay this forward." "Just like he asked?" Darnell nodded. "We will. This isn't just our new beginning. It's a chance to help others start theirs." As Keisha stood in the kitchen of her growing catering business, Keisha's Kitchen, she couldn't help but feel the weight of the challenge before her. The business had been growing steadily, but with growth came new responsibilities and more complications than she had anticipated. She had hired a small team, but managing everything from inventory to customer relationships was starting to overwhelm her. One afternoon, as she stood in the middle of the kitchen, surrounded by stacks of orders for the upcoming weekend, Keisha's mind raced. She wasn't just managing a small food business, she was managing her dream. Every mistake felt like it could jeopardize everything she had worked for. There were days when the stress got so intense that she would lock herself in her office, trying to sort through bills, contracts, and supplier issues, all while still trying to maintain the level of service that had earned her the trust of her growing client base. Elon Musk had always been a quiet, steady presence in her life since the initial help he provided. She'd received his mentorship through his various networks, and he'd often check in to see how things were going, offering advice when needed. One evening, after another challenging day, Keisha sat down with her laptop, ready to send an email to Elon. She had been working with a consultant to help streamline her processes, but there were still issues she couldn't seem to solve. The business had grown too quickly, and she wasn't sure how to handle it all. Keisha typed her frustrations into the email. "Elon, I'm struggling with keeping everything together. The business is doing well, but I feel like I'm constantly falling behind. I could really use your advice." To her surprise, Elon responded almost immediately. "Keisha, I've been where you are, trying to balance it all. It's hard. The key is delegation. Find the right people, trust them, and let them handle the tasks that are outside your core focus. Don't be afraid to let go." It wasn't a magic fix, but Elon's message had the effect of giving Keisha a renewed sense of determination. She immediately reached out to her staff and made some tough decisions, including hiring an experienced manager to handle the day-to-day operations. The decision was difficult, but it allowed Keisha to step back, focus on the creative side of her business, and keep her dreams alive. Slowly, the business began to find its rhythm again. Keisha focused on what she loved, creating delicious, heartwarming meals for her clients. Meanwhile, Darnell's life at Tesla was unfolding in a way that he hadn't expected. At first, he was unsure whether he would even make it through the initial training program. He came from a background where he was often overlooked, and the thought of competing with younger, more seasoned workers was intimidating. But the work ethic that had always driven him, combined with his hands-on experience, gave him the edge he needed. Darnell threw himself into his new job at Tesla with everything he had. He was a natural when it came to understanding the mechanics of electric cars. Every day he learned something new, and soon he became known as one of the go-to technicians at the local service center. His ability to diagnose problems and come up with efficient solutions caught the attention of his supervisors. But Darnell's true growth came when he was given the opportunity to mentor new recruits. He had always been a quiet, reserved person, but as he watched the younger, less experienced employees struggle, he felt a responsibility to guide them. He started by offering small tips, then moved on to more in-depth advice. Eventually, his role evolved, and he was given the task of overseeing the onboarding of new staff. The satisfaction he felt from helping others succeed reminded him of how much he had struggled when starting out. Darnell knew what it was like to be overlooked, and he wanted to make sure others didn't feel that way. As Darnell excelled in his role, he became an inspiration to others in his community. He was invited to speak at local workshops for young men of color, sharing his story of perseverance and dedication. His story of rising from humble beginnings to a respected position at Tesla resonated with many. "I'm living proof that it doesn't matter where you come from, as long as you work hard, you can make it," Darnell told a group of teenagers at one event. "Don't let anyone tell you that you're not good enough." His words were not only a reflection of his own growth but also a challenge to those around him to push past their limits and chase their dreams, just as he had. Jaylen's world was shifting in ways he hadn't anticipated. As the months passed, he found himself more and more enamored with science and technology. While most kids his age were focused on social media or sports, Jaylen was spending hours researching space exploration, studying the designs of rockets and satellites, and dreaming about becoming an astronaut one day. At school, he had become a standout student in his STEM program, particularly excelling in physics and engineering. His teachers took notice, often pulling him aside to offer additional resources or extra challenges to feed his curiosity. One day, after a particularly inspiring lecture on space travel, Jaylen rushed home, his mind spinning with ideas. He couldn't wait to show his parents the latest project he had been working on, a model for a sustainable space station. Keisha and Darnell sat at the kitchen table as Jaylen unwrapped his creation. The model was impressive, with tiny solar panels and a working propulsion system, all built from parts he'd scavenged from his school's engineering lab. "I've been thinking," Jaylen said, his voice filled with excitement. "What if we could build something that could help future astronauts live in space for months at a time, using only the resources they can bring with them? Maybe this could be part of a bigger project with SpaceX or NASA." Keisha's heart swelled with pride. "Jaylen, this is amazing. You've got the mind of an inventor." Darnell nodded. "You're onto something big here, son." It was clear that Jaylen's love for science wasn't just a phase, it was something he was passionate about. Every evening, he would continue refining his designs, researching the latest in space technology, and working on projects with his school mentors. It wasn't long before Jaylen's talents caught the attention of a SpaceX recruiter who happened to visit the school for a lecture. After hearing about Jaylen's ideas, he offered to sponsor Jaylen's application for a summer internship at SpaceX's headquarters. Jaylen's eyes lit up. He had dreamed of this moment for years. He couldn't believe that his passion for space exploration might just turn into a real opportunity. "I'm doing it," he told his parents, his voice full of determination. "I'm going to work with the people who are actually sending rockets to space." Keisha and Darnell exchanged glances, filled with a sense of awe at how far their son had come. As Keisha, Darnell, and Jaylen each carved out new paths for themselves, their journey wasn't without challenges. But their resilience and determination were what truly set them apart. And in each of their individual pursuits, Keisha's business, Darnell's career at Tesla, and Jaylen's aspirations in space, they found strength in each other. Their family bond became the foundation for everything they had achieved and everything they hoped to achieve in the future. Each step forward was a reminder that no challenge was too great when they had the support of those they loved. The sun had barely risen over the city as Keisha opened the door to Keisha's kitchen for another busy day. The kitchen was bustling with energy, the scent of fresh spices and baking bread filling the air. It was a far cry from the quiet, uncertain days she had experienced not long ago, when she had struggled to make ends meet. Now, her business was thriving, and with that success came an opportunity to give back to the community that had once supported her. Keisha had always believed in the power of second chances. She had lived it herself. Now that her business was stable and growing, she wanted to provide those same opportunities to others. One of the first steps she took was to create a mentorship program aimed at helping single mothers in her neighborhood. Many of them faced the same struggles she had when she first started out: financial instability, lack of support, and the challenge of trying to balance family and work. "Keisha, can I talk to you for a minute?" one of her new employees, Monica, asked as she walked into the office. Monica had recently joined the team, and Keisha saw a lot of herself in her. Monica was a single mother, working tirelessly to provide for her 2 young children. Keisha could tell that Monica had big dreams but lacked the resources and guidance to make them come true. "Of course, Monica," Keisha said with a warm smile, gesturing for her to take a seat. "What's on your mind?" "I've been thinking," Monica began. "I want to start my own business, like you. But I don't even know where to begin. I don't have the education or experience, and I feel like I'm always one step behind." Keisha listened intently. She had heard similar concerns from others before. She knew how isolating it could feel to have big dreams but not the knowledge or resources to achieve them. She had been there herself, struggling to navigate the complexities of business ownership with no one to guide her. But now, she could be the mentor that she had always wished she had. "Monica, you're not alone," Keisha said gently. "I've been where you are. But here's the thing, you have the drive, and that's the most important part. If you're willing to learn and put in the work, I'll help you get started. Let's sit down this weekend and come up with a plan. I'll teach you what I've learned." Monica's eyes lit up with hope. For the first time in a long while, she felt like someone believed in her. And that belief was all she needed to start taking action. As Keisha mentored Monica, she began to realize the profound impact her own success could have on the community. By helping other women, especially single mothers, Keisha was creating a ripple effect of empowerment. She wasn't just building a business, she was building a network of strong, independent women who could lift each other up. And she wasn't stopping with Monica. Keisha expanded her mentorship program, reaching out to other women in her community who had the potential to become successful entrepreneurs. She offered them a platform to learn, share resources, and collaborate. Soon, the once small kitchen had transformed into a center of support for women looking to change their lives. Meanwhile, Darnell's journey had taken a similar turn. Since joining Tesla, he had been promoted several times and was now in a position of leadership. But Darnell hadn't forgotten where he came from. He remembered the feeling of being overlooked, of not having the right resources or connections to succeed. "Dad, we need to do something," Jaylen said one day after school, his eyes full of determination. "There are so many kids in the neighborhood who are really into tech and engineering but don't have the resources to get started. I think we could help." Darnell thought about Jaylen's words for a moment. He had seen firsthand how important it was to have someone believe in you, especially when it came to pursuing a career in technology. When he had first started at Tesla, he had no formal training but a strong desire to learn. Now, he had the skills and the knowledge to give back. "You're right," Darnell said with a nod. "We can help. Let's start a workshop. We'll teach kids the basics of coding, robotics, and electrical engineering. We can bring in some of my colleagues from Tesla to help out too." Over the next few weeks, Darnell worked tirelessly to organize a community tech workshop. He reached out to local schools, nonprofit organizations, and friends in the tech industry to gather resources. The workshop was a hit from the start, attracting kids from all over the neighborhood who were eager to learn. "I never knew how cool this stuff was," one of the kids, Marcus, exclaimed after building his first robot at the workshop. "I always thought I'd have to be super rich to get into tech, but now I know I can do it too." Darnell's heart swelled with pride as he watched the kids engage with the material, their faces lighting up as they grasped the concepts he had taught them. It was a small workshop, but it had the potential to change lives. Darnell knew that giving these kids the tools they needed to succeed was the first step in breaking the cycle of poverty and providing them with opportunities they never thought possible. As Keisha and Darnell's efforts began to bear fruit, Elon Musk took notice. He had been following their progress from a distance, impressed by how they had used the opportunities he had given them to not only improve their own lives but to pay it forward. Elon had always believed in the power of giving back, and seeing the ripple effect of his own act of kindness made him proud. One afternoon, he visited Keisha and Darnell's home to see their progress firsthand. As he walked into their living room, he was greeted by Keisha, who offered him a seat with a cup of tea. "It's incredible what you've both accomplished," Elon said, his voice full of admiration. "Keisha, your business is thriving, and Darnell, you've built something amazing for the kids in the community. You've created a true legacy." Keisha smiled, her eyes shining with gratitude. "We couldn't have done it without your help, Elon. You gave us a chance when we had none, and now we're passing that chance on to others." Darnell nodded in agreement. "It's all about paying it forward. We've been blessed, and now we're doing what we can to help others. There's no greater feeling than watching these kids grow and succeed." Elon leaned back in his chair, reflecting on how one act of kindness had set off a chain reaction of positive change. "This is what it's all about," he said quietly. "It's not just about giving people money. It's about giving them the tools, the opportunities, and the belief that they can make a difference. You two are living proof of that." Keisha, Darnell, and Elon sat together, exchanging stories and ideas for how they could continue to build on the progress they had made. The conversation turned to the future, how they could expand their efforts, support even more people, and create lasting change. As the sun began to set, Keisha and Darnell reflected on how far they had come. Their journey had been difficult, but it had also been one of growth, resilience, and love. They had worked hard to rebuild their lives, and now they were helping others do the same. The future was bright, not just for their family, but for the entire community they had worked so hard to uplift. In that moment, it became clear that the real power of kindness lay not in grand gestures, but in the ripple effects of small, meaningful actions. As the months passed, the transformation within Keisha's family became more evident, not just in their own lives but in the lives of everyone they touched. What began as a single act of kindness from Elon Musk had now become a movement, a ripple effect that had spread far beyond their own community. Keisha's catering business was booming, Darnell's tech workshops were empowering youth, and Jaylen was excelling in school, his dream of working in space feeling closer than ever. But the most remarkable change was the sense of unity and hope that had begun to grow among those around them. In the neighborhood where Keisha had once struggled, a quiet revolution was taking place. People who had been living in the shadows of hopelessness were starting to find new paths forward. Single mothers were now finding employment, their children attending after-school programs that taught them not only academics but also the value of kindness and hard work. Young men and women were beginning to see a future for themselves, one that didn't rely on crime or despair, but on education, opportunity, and community support. Keisha knew that none of this would have been possible without Elon's support, but she also understood that it was the efforts of everyone involved that had turned their situation around. The kindness that Elon had shown her family had sparked something much greater than financial aid. It had ignited a sense of possibility. She sat in her kitchen late one evening, a cup of tea in hand, reflecting on the journey. Her eyes fell on the framed letter from Elon that hung on the wall, the one where he had shared his pride in seeing how far they had come. It was more than just words on paper. It was a reminder that they had taken the opportunity given to them and made the most of it. They had not only transformed their own lives but had given others the tools to do the same. As Keisha prepared for the next round of mentoring sessions, she received a call from Darnell. "Mom, you've got to come see this," he said, his voice filled with excitement. "The kids at the workshop, they're building their first robot. And it's working." Keisha couldn't help but laugh. She had witnessed Darnell's passion for helping others firsthand, but this was something different. The kids weren't just learning, they were succeeding. They were taking the skills they had been taught and applying them in real life. And it was working. Darnell had set up the workshop not only to teach but also to empower the kids in the community, showing them that they, too, could be creators and innovators. With each project, they were building more than just robots. They were building their confidence, their futures, and the belief that they had the potential to do anything. When Keisha arrived at the workshop, she saw the kids huddled around the robot, eyes wide with wonder. Darnell was smiling proudly, watching as the kids high-fived each other. The sense of accomplishment in the room was palpable, and Keisha couldn't help but feel overwhelmed with gratitude. "These kids are going to do great things," she said, her voice thick with emotion. Darnell nodded. "And they're going to pay it forward, just like we did." As they stood there, surrounded by young minds full of potential, Keisha realized how much their lives had changed. They had taken the resources Elon had provided and multiplied them, turning a small act of kindness into a movement that would continue for generations. Later that evening, Jaylen approached her as she was preparing dinner. He had been quiet lately, his mind focused on his future. "Mom, can I talk to you about something?" Jaylen asked, his tone serious. "Of course, baby. What's on your mind?" Jaylen hesitated for a moment before speaking, his eyes full of determination. "I've been thinking about what I want to do when I grow up, and I know now what I want more than anything else." Keisha set down the knife she had been using to chop vegetables, turning to face him. "What is it, Jaylen?" "I want to work in space exploration," he said, his voice filled with confidence. "I want to build rockets. I want to go to Mars. I've been reading about it, and I know that's where I belong." Keisha's heart swelled with pride. She had always known that Jaylen was destined for greatness, but hearing him speak with such conviction made her realize how far he had come. Not only was he excelling in school, but he was now dreaming big, beyond the confines of their neighborhood. "That's amazing, Jaylen," Keisha said, her voice filled with emotion. "And I know you can do it. You've got the drive, the heart, and the determination to make it happen. I just need to get into a good college and start learning everything I can about space technology," Jaylen continued. "And I want to thank Elon for believing in us. I know that without him, I wouldn't have even thought that this was possible." Keisha smiled warmly, placing a hand on his shoulder. "We all have Elon to thank, but don't forget, you've worked hard too. You're making your dreams happen, just like we did. And you're going to inspire others to do the same." The next day, Keisha reached out to Elon, eager to share Jaylen's story. She had always been thankful for his help, but now, she had a new reason to express her gratitude. "Dear Elon," she wrote in the email, "I wanted to let you know how much you've changed our lives. Jaylen is dreaming of a future in space, and he is determined to make that dream come true. He's doing well in school, and he's already taking steps toward his goal of building rockets. You believed in us when we had nothing, and because of that, Jaylen believes in himself. Thank you for everything." Elon's response came a few hours later. "Keisha, your family has done something incredible. You've taken the opportunity and made the most of it. Jaylen has the drive and talent to go far, and I'm excited to see where his dreams take him. Keep up the great work, and remember that I'm always here to support you." Keisha felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. It wasn't just the financial support that had changed their lives, it was the belief Elon had shown in them. His investment in their potential had sparked a fire that no amount of money could have ignited. And now, that fire was burning brightly, not just for Keisha's family but for everyone they had touched. As Keisha, Darnell, and Jaylen sat around the dinner table that evening, they reflected on how far they had come. The challenges they had faced still lingered in their memories, but they no longer defined them. Their story had become one of hope, perseverance, and, above all, kindness. And in the end, it wasn't the money or the material success that mattered most. It was the way their lives had been changed by a single act of kindness, one that had rippled through their community and beyond. "Mom," Jaylen said, his voice filled with resolve, "I'm going to make it to space. And I'll never forget who helped me get here." Keisha smiled, her heart full. "And when you do, Jaylen, you'll remember that kindness is the rocket fuel that makes all dreams possible." The story of Keisha's family, and the ripple effect of Elon's kindness, would continue to inspire not just their community, but anyone who believed that one act of generosity could change the course of a life. And as they sat together, the future seemed brighter than ever, full of endless possibilities. This story serves as a powerful reminder that a single act of kindness has the potential to create a lasting impact. It is a testament to the power of belief, support, and the ripple effect of one person's willingness to make a difference in the lives of others.